All right, here we go. Horner syndrome versus third nerve palsy. Now, these two entities have a lot of things in common, and until I started going through them in more detail, I didn't realize how many things they had in common and how it could be a little difficult to tell them apart or to get confused between the two of them. So we're going to go through how you tell the two of them apart and the specific aspects of each condition. So, third nerve palsy. So let's go through what the third cranial nerve innervates. So we know what innervates are superior rectus, inferior rectus, medial rectus, inferior oblique as well. And so basically all your extraocular muscles are innervated by your third nerve except for the superior oblique and the lateral rectus. And it's those two muscles that aren't innervated by the third nerve that give you some of the ocular findings when your third nerve is out. Then we also have the levator palpebrae, which is innervated, the ciliary muscle, and the iris sphincter, which constricts your pupil. So extraocular muscles, except for your superior oblique and your lateral rectus, and your pupillary constriction, and your levator palpebrae, elevating your eyelid, are the three aspects of third nerve palsy which really give it its characteristics. With the third nerve out, therefore, the eye will deviate down and out. It's down and out, lateral, and it deviates inferiorly because of that leftover lateral rectus and superior oblique that bring it down and to the side. The pupillary constrictor is out, so the pupil will be large, and the levator palpebrae will be out, so you'll have ptosis. So ptosis, large pupil, and down and out with the eye. Horner syndrome, on the other hand, we know is a problem with the sympathetic chain. And so when the sympathetic chain is out, we get miosis and hydrosis, which we're never going to diagnose. I don't think we're ever going to say, oh, look, that half of that guy's face isn't sweaty. But miosis we'll see, and they get ptosis. They also get a ptosis, just like in third nerve palsy. So why do they get a ptosis in Horner syndrome? Is it the levator palpebrae that's out again? No, because that's innervated by the third cranial nerve. We just went over that. So why do you get ptosis? And this gentleman can tell us why. Johannes Mueller. He is the gentleman that the Mueller muscle is named after. He was a physiologist in the 1800s. And just like the levator muscle, the Mueller muscle of the eye also elevates the eyelid. It's one of the other elevators of the eyelid besides the levator palpebrae. And it's supplied by the sympathetic chain. So lack of function causes ptosis that's actually less severe than the ptosis seen when the levator muscle is out. So then how do I tell these guys apart? So in Horner syndrome, you get a small pupil, while in third nerve palsy, you get a large one. Remember, the third nerve allows your pupil to constrict, so when it's out, the pupil dilates. Both give you a ptosis, but the ptosis of a third nerve palsy affecting the levator muscle is more severe than the ptosis you get with a Horner syndrome, with the Mueller muscle out. And then finally, in third nerve palsy, the extraocular muscles are affected and your eye is down and out, unlike in Horner syndrome where you have no effect on the extraocular muscles. So then that brings us to the question, well, in one, the pupil's small. So in Horner syndrome, you have a small pupil. In third nerve palsy, you have a large pupil. That means one pupil is going to be small, one pupil is going to be large. In either condition, how do I tell which is the abnormal eye? Is the eye that's abnormal the one that's too small? Or is the eye that's abnormal the one that's too large? So, here are some tricks. Which eyelid is drooping? If there's an eyelid drooping, that's probably the abnormal side. If the problem, another trick you can do is dimming or raising the light in the room. Because if the problem is the large pupil can't constrict, you got a large pupil on one side that can't constrict, then in bright light, the asymmetry will be more prominent because this pupil can't constrict, this one's small, and in bright light it's going to get smaller and the difference is going to be more pronounced. If, on the other hand, the problem is the small pupil can't enlarge, like in Horner's syndrome, then in dim light the difference will be more pronounced because the other eye will dilate. So now we know it's this small pupil that's the problem. So that's a little trick you can use to differentiate between the two. All right, thank you very much.